everyone, Karen the Warp Spinster. Thank you for joining me on my channel where we cut and sew and see what happens. Today, going Scrappy again. Some of you will be happy to know that I'm doing some prints as well as some solids. And I am, much to the dismay of some of you, I know, going to continue with white because I like white. And I have lots and lots of white scraps. What I want to do today is kind of similar to what we did last couple of times, I guess. At least the beginning of it. It's just going to be a simple framed or semi-framed box, and then we'll do variations on that and see about putting them together. I've chosen a palette that's mostly cool colors, but there's a little bit of a warm spark in some of these reds and red purples here, without it being a bright red that would be garish with these colors. So we might work in some black and white, some stripes, some prints. I mean, I don't know. We're just exploring here. I feel kind of like the USS Enterprise of quilting. Not really, but I had to go somewhere. Now, I'm going to start out with white centers because white is going to be my background. If you prefer cooler colors, if you don't like white, you could use a gray, varying shades. In this case, I would use a very light gray that was almost white. For me, of course. If you like cooler colors, you could go to cream, tan, beige, whatever. You could also do black. Black would be very striking against these fabrics, but I'm doing white because I'm in that kind of mood today. So I'm going to start off with this rectangle just as it stands. They won't all be that size. And then I'm just going to do a border around, I'm just going to do it around two sides. And I'll show you why in a moment. It may change my mind, but for now I'm just going to do it on two sides. And doesn't matter what I choose. This is going to be fairly large in the scheme of things, so I think I will choose a fabric that I've got quite a bit of. So let's start with this one. And I'm just going to do a frame around it, probably not to exceed an inch, maybe? Cut an inch? Maybe an inch and a half max for this whole project. For this one, it may well be smaller than that. Say I cut it an inch and a half so that there will be an inch around it. And I will just do two sides and come back. You don't need me to tell you how to do this. I have made the two border strips different widths, not by a lot. I think it's a 1/4 inch difference. As I'm looking at it now, considering the picture I've had in my head, this may be too wide, but we'll see. I'm going to leave it wider at this point just until I get further along and decide if that's true. I can always cut it down, harder to get it larger without taking it apart and redoing it. So now I'm going to take another square of kind of a random size, not a square, a rectangle of another random size, and I'm going to border this also on two sides. In a lot of circumstances, I would do it on three sides, but for these first two, I'm just doing it on two sides. And let me do, I think, maybe a bit brighter one next to it. And I'm going to do it narrower on this one just to kind of see how that looks. I think you can begin to see where I'm going with this. The blocks will have, in many cases anyway, shared border. If you want to sort of think of it as shared anyway. So I'm not doubling up on borders like this. Kind of makes it too choppy for what I have in mind somehow. I don't know. This idea, kind of an amalgam of other things that I've seen or worked on before. So it's kind of a bit of what we did last week, just the simple bordered rectangle. There's also got a little bit of George's Park on Sunday, which I'm still working on. But I think it may have popped into my head because of a photograph in National Geographic magazine years and years ago that I collected, and I just loved the shapes and forms in it. It's the rooftops of mud brick homes in, I don't know, the oldest city in somewhere there. I will post a photo of that in here, I guess, so you can see it. I have always been intrigued by it. I have designed one smaller, mostly applique quilt based on that, but this is kind of the thing in mind, just nested boxes with walls. And then I had originally thought that I wanted to make this up against a straight wall, so it would all be angles, right angles. But I think maybe I want it to be like a river running through the middle of it, so it would be sort of like Budapest, where it's Buda on one side and Pest on the other. I'm not sure yet, but I'm going to build this side of it as if it's going to have either a straight line or a curved waving line going through it. And again, it's just going to be different sizes pieced together. It isn't going to end right over here. It's going to, I mean, it's not going to be a straight line to the edge of the quilt, I don't think. And I do have a quilt in my head for this one. It's not totally exploring. I have something in mind for the end, and the exploration is going to be how these individual boxes look. So sorry, I'm skipping around. This is my hyperactive brain. I was thinking that when we talked about backgrounds, and I'm doing white, and I'm going to continue to do that, but a background sort of this color of blue, gray sort of color might be really interesting as a background too. Not this print, but just a solid of that color might be pretty interesting. You could do these in black and white prints. We could do this wavy river, creek, whatever in a black and white print. You could mix black and white prints with these prints. You could do all solids. You could do all of, say, all very warm colors. So you have a fiery look with reds and oranges and yellows, which I think would be really effective as well. Or very restful colors. So lots of options here, but I'm going to go forward with this. It will give me some idea about how it's going to look in general. And then if I decide, I want to do some black and white in there just to mix it up, we could try that again in a little bit. But meanwhile, I'm just going to start making a few pieces that will fit together. Bearing in mind that just like George's Park, that there are going to be some fillers of white in here in some spaces here. Although it will tend to be more as I get toward the outside, so that say this was the outside edge and I had another piece down here that ended here, which you can't see. Julie is ending for you. And then this would be the edge there, although I probably would have another strip here, so that it will be a staggered edge on the side, I think. But I'm staying open to other possibilities here. So I'm going to make a few more of these using these fabrics in white, and then we'll come back and maybe consider the possibility of putting in some black and white borders as well, just to mix it up a little bit. I'm not sure about that at all. I think with these lighter colors in here, not sure I want to go there, but we'll see. So I'm going to make a few more of these different sizes, and I'm going to border them on just two sides for the moment. As we go further out, we may have to do some on three sides as we get away from the edge here. Although I will have this as a shared border, so I could do another piece that was, say, like this with a border around it, although I'd probably make it a little smaller or a little longer so that they don't match up anywhere. All right, I'm off to make a few more of these. At this point, we have some decisions to make, a decision at least, and that is what to do when I have a situation like this. If I want just one shared border here, then I would probably trim this off and match it up with this and do a shared border, but I don't want to have these completely matching up everywhere. So I think I may do just white here as background. I could do this color and just do a third border here and then do a border here. So I'm going to end up with probably another piece, say down here. And how do I want to do that in relation to these? I really don't want to just, these are straight across here, which is fine, but I don't think I want to continue that. Although, if you remember in the photograph, they are all just backed up onto each other. They're surrounded completely. So I might finish this out with this. We can add variety. That's the whole point of this. It's an improv kind of thing. So I could finish this out with this color, but I also have to keep in mind that this is going to have a seam on it too. So, all right, I'm going to finish this out, do a third border here, get these two to match up. No. So what I want to do, I think, is put another border down here. Now, I'm going to have this piece. It's like doing a jigsaw puzzle or creating a jigsaw puzzle. So if I want another piece like this, then I'm going to end up with a border over here, and there goes my whole just two sides theory of things. But I'm pretty sure that I don't want to keep having borders butting up against borders. I want to have shared walls, so to speak. So, I guess I will finish this out, do perhaps a border on three sides. No, I will do a third side on this, a third side on this, and then this can be also a three-sided this way. I don't know if you're following me. I'm sorry, I'm just working this out in my brain. So I'm going to go do what I just said, I think. I think you can kind of see where I'm going with this, where I think I'm going with this. This would have a white strip here, possibly another block going out there. I've had a thought, another option, not sure I'll do that with this one, but another option would be to have this line either straight or curved here in a black and white print, and on this side replace the white with black, which I think would be kind of fun. Not strictly positive, negative, well, kind of, I guess, whatever. So that's a possibility as well. I think what I'm going to do is just start making some now that are, am I three-sided? In some cases, are they going to have to be not shared walls? Well, this kind of is shared wall, almost, kind of. So, yeah, I think so. I like this very angular sort of look, but I'm going to get a piece of, I think maybe black and white fabric, and just cut like a curve so I can see how that's going to look against it, or whether I want a straight piece there. I had a little bit wider strip to begin with and decided I wanted it more narrow. Not sure how I feel about it. If it were a little curvier, maybe. Obviously, it's not as wide as would represent the Danube going through Budapest, but that wasn't really the inspiration for this anyway. I almost think it's either going to be not dark enough, so not enough contrast to these, or it's not light enough. I think maybe it's not dark enough for what I picture. Let me know what you think. I kind of liked this wave look, and it is printed on the diagonal on the fabric, which would not be a big deal, obviously, because this is going to be bias anyway. So, you know, that may still be a possibility, and I suppose it makes a difference if there are some black background pieces over here. So I think, another thing I could do is make this a cool side and this a warm side. There are so many possibilities. Decisions. I am going to try out a couple of black background pieces to put over here and see how they look. I may also want to move this over a bit and put some white in there. Not sure. Oh, I would want another strip of that. I think I have a strip floating around somewhere. I'm doing a lot of faking here. So we'll just do that, pardon my elbow. And that will be a plenty long strip if I want to actually add that to it. And here is our curved piece. And then I will do a couple of black blocks over here. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't want those two edges to match up though. So maybe I will leave that there. It's having, it's more of a stacked quality than I had thought of from the inspiration photo, but I'm not sure that I don't like this as well. I don't know. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna do some black background squares. Here are a few blocks with the black background, and I do not like them, at least not in conjunction with these. This one, I think there's not enough contrast. Maybe I would like it better if it's just lighter colors on this side. So that's another option, that you do dark colors for borders over here and light colors over here. It's a possibility. I don't know. Tell me what you think. I'm just not feeling it. Maybe I just don't have enough of these over here. This one I think just doesn't have enough contrast on this side with the black. It blends in too much, and I need that contrast with it. So, I don't know. Let me make a couple more just because, you know, and then I may try a black strip up here without these pieces and see if I like that. Or something that is more black on white. This is really more white on black, so all right, let me do at least one more of these and take a look at it with more on that side. I don't know. I'm uncertain. At first, I filled in this spot with white, just out of habit from over here. And of course, that's not right. It should be a black background piece. But I kind of like it. So another option, this is getting sad, isn't it? Would be to do the black background squares, but almost have these as alternate. Nah, that doesn't look good. Never mind. Never mind. And this one could be like that, except then I would want another strip there, wouldn't I? If this goes over here, then I would want to make this a smaller piece because I don't want those edges to match up. So I think I'm liking it better as I'm getting more blocks going here. So maybe I'll do another small one over here. See how that starts to look. I don't know. 'Tis a puzzlement. 'Tis a puzzlement. Okay, let me do another smaller one here, which I think will kind of balance out a little bit and we can see better if we like this one I'm going to have to cut because that's just going to be too wide. And of course this is much greater proportion of border to center on that one. But I'm okay with that, I think. Oh, it's a cute little piece. Not wide enough to do anything with, but a cute piece. All right, I'll do one or two more and then I'll come back and we'll think about where we might go from here another time. Oh, I was going to do a black strip up there on its own. We'll do that too. And here we have it with the watery white on black. I think this is troubling me because that's too light. I needed lighter over here to contrast with the black, but that really is, well, it could also be that it's right next to the cutting mat, which is almost the same color, and it looks washed out, but I still think it's too light, but there we have that option. Don't like it. I just don't like it much. And now we have something that has more black in it, and I like it better. Can't say I'm wild about it, but if this comes out, then I might well like that better. I think it would be better without that piece, with a different color up there. It's just way too light. So I think that would have to come out. Now the other thing I want to try is I've got this piece of just plain black, which I don't think will work at all if we've got black under on the left side. Boy, I really made this one very curvy, didn't I? You know, I like that best of all. So far, even with the black over here. Why is that? Good contrast, I guess. And now it feels like the river Styx. You cross over it. Yeah, never mind. Anyway. So then how would it look if I took those away and just maybe did, I don't know, more white over here, grab a couple of pieces and put them on that side. And that isn't going to work very well. How about if we do that? Okay. Of course, I have no memory of what I just did over there, but okay, and this, and then another piece of white, maybe. Maybe. It'd be fun just to make a boatload of these and just play with them. Just play. I always think that's fun to do. You know, I don't hate this black running through it. I kind of like it. I might do a couple more blocks just to see how that looks. Put these back where they were, if I can remember where they were. Of course I can't, because that would be too easy. I think this was here, that piece there, this piece, and then make a couple more over there, and maybe I'm gonna like it. I think the sharper curve also helps. It breaks up the straight lines, the angular lines of the rest of it. These two I can ditch because I just don't like those much. Okay, so now I want to make a couple more for this side that have white as the background. I wonder if this is still going to be, I think that's still going to be too light with the light because that's not enough contrast again. So I may remake these with white in the center, and we'll see what that is, and then that'll be it for this week. I think this is what I've settled on. White background, a combination of shared borders and sometimes not shared borders, depending on how things happen. So sometimes they'll have 2 around them, sometimes they'll have 3 border strips around them. And I like a curve here instead of straight, and surprisingly to me, I like the black. Now, it's me, so I have to try it. I don't think I want these, but who knows? You could also have some circles kick in here, you know? Oh. I don't hate it. Oh, Lordy. Am I completely far gone? I don't even mind that they're the same size. I kind of like that, actually. That's too close to that one, but... Oh, my. I think I might like it. How about the... No, the bright green is... Well, I'm doing greens, but... One may not be quite right for our purposes. No. I think I might like the solids. Big surprise, huh? And I think I want one closer to the center. But not too even. Picky, picky, picky. Anyway, so there's my possibility for today. You know, improv piecing can be very detailed and complicated, and I like doing those, but I also like pretty simple looking, simple seeming things like these bordered rectangles, but then putting it together in such a way that it's a little different. There are lots of bordered rectangles and boxes in quilts, and I love them. That's, you know, one of the reasons that I'm liking this, I'm sure. But sometimes you just want to sit down, do some simple blocks, and think of different ways to put them together. So I'm pretty happy with what I came up with today, and I even like those circles. So what does it look like if we take the circles off again? Now it adds that punch, doesn't it? And it's circles. I don't know what to tell you. All right, that's it for this week. We may pursue more of this next week. We may pick up on something new or work some more on something that I started a long time ago that I need to get going, but I also need to think about how I would turn this into a full quilt, or is this whatever? I don't know. That's it for this week. I hope to see you next week. In the meantime, be well, be safe, be happy, be quilting. Peace out.